Well, good morning, everybody. I hope that you are all doing very well. Hey, DB, you are first. Thank you for your kind comments. Hey, Cinnamon, same for you. You guys are very good friends, and I appreciate your very sweet comments about me finally being a granny. So thank you for that. Um, I'm just a little surprised at this whole Fani Willis testimony and people being hesitant um, to say what they see. It's pretty amazing. Hi, Truth Seeker. Good morning to you. DB said, I've never claimed first in my life. Well, today is your day, DB. Thank you. Hey, Tennessee. How are you? All right. So, look, I don't know. I know that there are people. Let me start out by saying this. I've always really tried on my videos, my channels. I don't go with the popular opinion, and I don't watch to see what's getting the clicks and views and which opinion is the best one to have in terms of people liking you. I don't do that. I watch what you watch, and then I give my honest impressions and my honest reaction. I do not, well, for the most part, I try really hard not to say this person is guilty because they lifted their left hand or they squinted at a certain place, right? Because the truth is, we are not omniscient. Doesn't matter what kind of experience you have or what kind of training or education. No one is omniscient. I think we've seen some really horrifying and shocking situations regarding a very popular, famous, what should we call him, television personality, cop detective who used some really flawed, sketchy pseudoscience to absolutely, utterly destroy a young man in California. That person did not do it with malice. That television personality did not do it with malice or hatefulness. He just believed, someone convinced him. I want to be careful how I say this. I believe someone convinced him that his, voice stress analysis was scientific. It was science, or squinting at a certain place meant some specific message. We have to be really careful what we're describing when we see something related to human behavior or human nature. We have to be really careful about it. I also think patterns of behavior are far more indicative of one's guilt or innocence, nefariousness, rather perhaps just innocence, naivety. I think we're running into really dangerous territory now, where we look at a certain little tiny minuscule thing. Now, I believe in microexpressions. Don't get me wrong. I believe in microexpressions. I know what self-soothing behaviors look like, but I do not think that you can write a manual that says if a woman sits back in her chair with her arms open wide, that she is in a relaxed posture. Now, our channel here, we got a lot of women that are in positions of management, or even people, business owners, and the like. I want to ask you guys this: women typically, when they're talking with others, they typically lean forward, um almost, well, not as an overt act of I see you and I wish to connect with you, not in a manipulative type of way, but as a natural part of how we relate interpersonally to other people. Women women are more comfortable with that closer um body position, correct? So if we're having a conversation with someone that we're either collaborating, trying to work toward a solution together, or we're for being friendly and having fun, or there's a problem and we're speaking earnestly in an effort to try to get our point across, then it is natural for us to sort of lean forward. It is, most women experience this sitting back as disinterest. Most women experience sitting back into a chair, leaning back away from the person that you are speaking with. That is actually a female power move. Now, it may not be a male power move, or perhaps the difference is this. Perhaps the difference is when when a man begins a meeting, he's already hyper aware of being in a position of power, because that's sort of the masculine baseline. That if a man in a position of power or leadership begins a position, they hold their shoulders back and they try to take up as much space as possible. We got a lot of research on this about men over 6 foot tall being in the ivory tower, being the leadership head of the organization, things like that. You have very few people very few men, sorry. You have very few men that are under 5'10" that are in an executive position. How bizarre is that? It's so weird. So in some way, or maybe it's testosterone, because I'm telling you, I've seen these men. I work in hospitals. I see these men, highly educated, positions of power in the boardroom, on charity boards, and these are large men that when you begin a meeting with them, or they begin a large group, meeting, it starts with them leaned back in their chair. It's sort of that weird phenomenon of the wide open knees. It's a position of power and strength that's saying, I am to be reckoned with. I'm here, right? So we don't often really even take note of it. It doesn't feel uncomfortable when faced with that. With a woman, and I've seen these women as well, because right now in healthcare, doctors, medical schools, women are dominating. Not so much in the boardroom. They're not so much in the upper echelons of the actual administration, but they're dominating in terms of clinical work. So with those people, you just don't see that initial power position. The women in leadership in these hospitals are friendly, they're accessible, um they like to take like a team approach, right? Until someone or something happens that they feel challenged. when someone challenges them, that is when you get the woman who then assumes assumes the power position. It has been my experience that when a woman leans back in her chair, puts one hand up on the arm of the chair, pardon me, has her elbow out, she's now taking up as much room as she can, and she is now in fight mode. It's different with men. They start out like that. The meeting begins like that. When at the beginning, let's say if it's a large group meeting, like the whole, like medical staff is meeting, or you're in a boardroom or something like that. Very often, if the woman is in the leadership position during that meeting, she's leaned over the table too, talking to everybody, making eye contact, moving toward the center of the circle. But the very minute she's challenged, the very minute an altercation begins, it is back and up, taking that position, right? So that's the difference, because I just finished watching a video where a learned, well-educated person, I think, is inaccurate in saying that this is her baseline. Now, maybe it is her baseline, and I don't think so. I don't think it's her baseline, because I watched the whole testimony live as it was happening. Then I went back and watched it again because it was so unbelievable and shocking, right? So I don't think this is her baseline, which I think is the most important thing about Fani Willis. The fact that this is not her baseline, and she comes into this courtroom literally looking for a fight. Before she ever gets up on the stand, she is standing there in defiance. She's breathing hard. The judge and the other attorneys are sort of looking at her like, what are you doing here? And she says something along the lines of, well, I figured I would be the next witness. And everybody was just completely taken back by this. To say that this was her baseline, that this was normal, is really curious. Scrappy. Old Fani was scrappy. Now, I ask you this, Cinnamon and Yvette, and those of you that saw this, right? Would you say that this is the district attorney? This is a woman taking meetings in the White House. This is not a woman who worries about self-soothing behaviors when someone challenges her. Do you agree or disagree? This is the woman who is snapping her finger and pointing and taking control of any situation she may find herself in, other than perhaps when she is taking a meeting with the President of the United States of America. Correct? So it's very curious that she comes busting into the courtroom. I am not using hyperbole there. Watching this live, you could see her come just furiously walking down the aisle to commanding this as her courtroom. It was incredible. And if any of you can find that, where most of these television stations have taken that first part off. They're cutting directly to her in the seat. If someone could please find this video of the courtroom when she comes in, she walks into the front, there's confusion about her being there. They don't know why she's there. And then they go, okay, judge, let her take the stand. Like, they're perfectly happy for her to get up on the stand. Okay. Now and now she gets on the stand. She is furious. Who saw this live? Who saw this live and thought, oh, look, they've just called Fani to come and testify, and now she's coming in to testify all relaxed and happy. She's just been in her office working, and now it's her turn to tell her story. Which do you think it was? Did she seem like she came in there pissed off and loaded for bear? Or did she seem like a woman of executive control who was there to tell her facts and her story? What do you think it was? She was loaded for bear. Okay? She was agitated when she took the stand. And so this video now starts with she's already come busting into the courtroom. I said that is hyperbole. You can't see the doors when she comes in. You can just see when she gets up, even with the plaintiff's table, right? So she gets up on the stand. She's already agitated when she sits down. Now, here's the reason why I think this is the biggest, most stunning part of Fani Willis's testimony. Because she is about to tell them that she did not watch the testimony of Nathan Wade. You see, Fani is following immediately after Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade got up there. It is the most bizarre thing. This whole day was just crazy. By the way, this judge has now been removed from the case. He's gone. You want to know why? Because of the donations that he had just given to Fani's campaign. I know, you can't make it up. So anyway, so Nathan Wade gets up there and he testifies. He does himself nor Fani Willis any favors. In fact, some of the political analysis talking heads, some of them said that his testimony was downright devastating, and that in some ways he is going to be lucky if he gets out of this without a major criminal investigation related to funds and fraud and whatever. So, I mean, that's what this is about. This is about them taking money for a case and misappropriation of funds, misusing the funds, which incidentally, the whistleblower was her friend who said, Fani, we can't use these funds like this. It's not in line with the grant that we got. And Fani fired her. Or we can't use this to buy new computers or whatever, swag. We can't do that. We're breaking the rules of the agreement, and she gets fired. So this is to say that this is a cauldron of, I don't know. I'm just going to call it, because I've always tried to just be just a open person and give my realistic impressions. It just seems like sloppy, or yeah, I'm comfortable with that. It seems like sloppy business practices. It seems like people getting a sum of money specific for certain things, certain tasks, that just use the money as personal income, free and loose. And look, we are sincerely cautioned. I mean, there is a I can't even express the major problem with using a combined bank account with both business funds and personal funds, your accountant, your attorney will say, we need a very clear delineation of the income for the business, the money that comes in for the business, expenditures for the business. Your own personal use of money is a completely separate issue. If you're operating in other ways, at least be able to have receipts to prove you bought that office computer, even though it came out of your personal account, or vice versa. So this idea of putting all money into one pot and then buying whatever you want, either business or personal, that is the worst possible business practices. It's a good way to get sued. It is a good way to put your company out of business, period. These jokers are saying they're just throwing cash around, big cash, $2,500, $10,000 total. It's crazy. It is a very strange story. It is a very strange story. So the reason that I go into the reason that they're doing this hearing and Nathan Wade and whatnot is this. Nathan Wade gets up on the stand immediately before this. His testimony is an unmitigated disaster. The talking heads just absolutely unequivocally, they just say, this is ridiculous. Nate, the lawyer, it was laughing so hard, he couldn't even get through his reaction video. Nate, go watch Nate, the lawyer. He is amazed at the behavior of Nathan Wade and then what we get here. So remember, Nathan Wade's on the stand, basically destroying any credibility Fani Willis has at this point. Fani Willis is in her office in the building, and she's now going to claim she was not watching Nathan Wade's testimony because she can't, right? That she was not watching, that she was in her office pacing and was not watching. Oh, okay. But the very second that his testimony finishes, you are barging into the courtroom, you are breathless, you are furious, and you sit down and take immediately the power position. You are loaded for bear, and you didn't watch his testimony? Are you sure about that? In fact, when they ask her, did you watch any of the testimony? Her answer was, I was in my office pacing. Okay, all of you behavior analysts, what about the whole, that's not a no? She didn't say, no, I did not watch the testimony. You just went right over it and didn't like what she said. Oh, I was in my office pacing. You just accept that as a no? I'm telling you, I gotta think about this. This is something. So, and the other question that I have is, why is she wearing her dress backwards? But that's not about her anger. So I want to look at this. It was very hard to understand the reaction.
Next witness, and I've been very anxious to have.
So she immediately takes the stand. She's already very angry. Once she sits down, she's relaxed. Not relaxed, but she's in the process of trying to relax. You can tell by the way she's breathing. She's trying to calm herself.
District Attorney Fani, Fani. Last name is Willis.
Now look at her. She almost looks like, you've seen those army dogs or police dogs where they know that they could get the message, the sign at any point to attack, right? you can watch them and see the tension in their muscles, and they are ready to launch, right? They are ready. She is so angry right here. She is nearly trembling, and she's trying very hard to present like an outward demeanor of calm. But watch her, watch this. It's the most incredible thing.
Ms. Willis, how did you know to come into the courtroom right then?
There were people, I was pacing in my office,
Okay.
and I heard someone yell, "His testimony is done." It only made sense to me that I would be your next witness. And I've been very anxious to have this conversation with you today. So I ran to the courtroom.
So as soon as
You talk about micro expressions. You talk about micro expressions. She has got a sneer all over her face. Next question I would ask to the professional behavior analyst. Did you ask yourself why she ran to the courtroom? I know, I get what she said, that she's not happy with the January filings. She's going to spend the first part of her testimony calling this attorney a liar over and over and over and over and over again. But that still doesn't explain why a woman who wears 3.5-inch heels to the office is running through the courthouse to get to a courtroom within minutes of the guy who's just completely obliterated the credibility of their story. Why did she run if she was not watching the testimony? Because the operative word here is that filing that she's referring to. That January filing was weeks ago, plenty of time for all of her fight or flight to have dissipated. Could she still be irritated? Yes. Could she still want a showdown, an argument, a come to Jesus moment where she is able to state her position, even in an angry way? Of course, absolutely. But you typically wouldn't see this level of anger and, yes, aggression when the conversation first starts. Generally, when there's a disagreement between equally powerful people, there is an initial nicety. How are you doing today? Good to see you. I'm having a little bit of trouble with what you said on X, Y, and Z. I'm not sure we're seeing this the same way. That's how these meetings start, and these professional analysts know that. It is unnatural to come to a courtroom, especially a district attorney, especially a woman who takes meetings in the White House. This is a woman who does not back down from power. She is very confident. She is very smart. She is used to this type of adversarial environment. So why is she so controlled? Why is she so angry to the point of nearly shivering? Where's that coming from? I'll tell you what I think, because I believe she was watching Nathan Wade's testimony and she was furious with him because it was a disaster.
Conversation with you.
Look at she wants to rip that attorney apart. And the problem that I'm having with this is that this level of animosity didn't build to a crescendo where they are having a disagreement and it's both are getting heated and the emotions are growing. It wasn't this natural moment. The story she's telling us is that she has no idea what Nathan Wade said. She has no idea that he just destroyed everything. She has no idea she's in the nice, warm, safe confines of her power office on the corner of the building. And then they say, Fani, his testimony is done, your turn. And so you're going to tell me like some ditzy sorority girl, she then just jumps up in her 3.5-inch heel and goes, oh, yay, goody, my turn, and runs through the courthouse to get to the courtroom. That is not reality. That is not what happened. it is my opinion that she watched this debacle. She was in shock about the testimony of Nathan Wade, and she was there to try to right the ship. And as a woman of power, as a woman of influence, she is furious that she's been put in this position. But this is that old classical case of, if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself. That is my opinion. So let's watch the rest of this.
Today, so I ran to the courtroom.
So as soon as you heard that Mr. Wade was done testifying, that's when you just assumed you would be the next witness?
It only makes sense.
Omniscient much? She already knew that everybody was going to know she was watching the testimony. Oh, it only makes sense. You are an attorney. You don't know what the other attorney is going to do. You don't know what the next step is.
Did you listen to any of the testimony?
I've been in my office pacing, ma'am.
Okay, that wasn't a no. And of all of the behavior analysts, they'll tell you that wasn't a no. She didn't say no. She deflected.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday.
Okay, that's the first accusation of lying against this other attorney. You lied on Monday. What? During her first arguments? Is that when she lied? Because I thought opening arguments were not like evidence. I thought you could say whatever you wanted to. I thought you could talk about your sister's book, and that was okay with everybody. So now Fani, a very powerful district attorney, is now saying that during her opening arguments that she lied. That's lie accusations of lies, number one.
Yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument.
All right. So that was it. Just the argument. No.
Notice her breathing. She's panting. Oh, because she ran. Okay. Because again, then, if she ran to the point that it made her pant, even after sitting down for a few minutes, maybe she needs to be assessed for a heart condition, or what in the world made her so energetic that she had to run to a courtroom? If she thought she was going to be the next witness called, she knows darn well they would have called her on the phone and said, hey, you need to come down. It's your turn. Why did you have to run, Fani? Did you think that you were going to miss your turn? Did you think that if you weren't there when they said, okay, we're going to call Fani Willis, that if you didn't show up within 3 seconds, that they were going to just drop you from the witness list and move to the next witness? No, she didn't think that. She knows better. So if she was not watching the disaster of Nathan Wade's testimony, then why in the world was she running to the point that she's panting after having sat here for several minutes? Why? Or is she panting because she is furious?
All right. So that was it. Just the argument. No testimony.
Right. I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did.
And notice the tremor in her voice. She's also trembling.
Testimony.
Right. I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday.
Uh-oh. Lie number 2. You're a liar. Number 2.
And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued, but since it did, here I am.
Great. So let's just talk about what you did in preparation for today. Did you meet with Mr. Wade at all? Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest.
You are a liar, number 3.
Within this motion. So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
So what are you then? if you're not a gentle person, if you're not polite, although we would expect as a district attorney, someone who takes meetings in the White House, I would think that you were a woman fully in control of your emotions. I would think that you would be able to tolerate that people are, telling stories in a court document that you disagree with. I would think that would be like general daily occurrence with you. So this level of anger that she has in this moment, she is having a very difficult time controlling the muscles around her nose that sort of make us go like into like a snarl, right? Like showing our teeth, right? Like, you've messed up, I'm coming for you. She is having a very difficult time. Every now and then you see it. You see her lips sort of pull up. She is furious. This is not assertive. This is not assertive behavior. She is angry. She is hurling accusations. She is nearly panting. She is trembling in anger. I don't think she's trembling in fear, not for a minute. I think she's furious. And she's having a very hard time controlling the muscles on her face. This is not comfortable, open body language, baseline, relaxed. This is because we're going to see a very different Fani Willis a little bit later on.
Okay, but my question was, did you have a conversation with
I didn't
him?
have a substantive conversation.
You did not.
So what you're also going to notice is as they go through this dance, this attorney asks questions and Fani doesn't answer. She doesn't, her answers very often are not even like, look at that. Look at that expression. That is not her regular facial expression. You can watch her giving speeches. You can watch her in the courtroom. She wants to get this attorney. She is furious. I know how she feels. I have been there. I have been that angry before. Listen to the question and then watch her answers.
Once the motion was filed, did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On January.
So the question is, did you talk to Mr. Wade about the motion? That's the question.
His first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. So,
okay, so Fani, the question is, did you talk to Nathan Wade about the filing? That was the question. And your answer is, well, I've got some choice words. Okay, did you say it like to the ether world? Did you just speak it out into your office? Did you say it to your secretary? Or did you pick up the phone and call Nathan Wade and say, Nathan, have you read this filing? I'm pissed.
I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
That was a warning to her. That was a warning saying, I'm coming for you. I'm going to hurt you.
Okay, but my question was, did you have a conversation with
I didn't
him?
have a substantive conversation.
You did not.
I read this motion, skimmed it more so.
Because she has to diminish the motion. When she said, I read this, just to diminish it and degrade it and put it beneath her. She has to elevate herself above the motion. She has to elevate herself above the accusations. She has to elevate herself above this attorney that she hates so desperately.
And I've probably said some choice things to him about some of the lies they were told.
Okay.
You're a liar, number 4. And she really didn't answer the question. The proper answer to the question is, yes, I spoke to Nathan Wade about the filing.
and then printed in the media because, you know, we used to be in a day and time where you had 60 Minutes and people did stories and they verified information, and you had this great reporting. But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of the world to see.
Is that number 5?
Well, I just want to make sure that you answer the question I asked, though. So my question was,
Overruled, Mr. Abadi.
Oh, wait. The judge who's made 3 sizable contributions, financial contributions to Fani Willis, the judge is agreeing that Fani Willis is not answering the questions. The judge who has given money to her, who supports her as district attorney. He's going, yeah, you know, she really did not answer the question. Answer it now, Fani.
I told you what happened. I read the motion. I am sure I told him what my opinion of it is. And past that, we had no substantive conversation.
you did not.
Is there something you didn't understand?
This woman is, she is really, really angry. This is a district attorney who understands courtroom decorum. You know what I mean? To ask this other attorney, what, you don't understand what I said? This is such, look, this isn't about did Fani lie or was Fani honest? That's not what this is about. This is about accuracy in talking about why people experienced her behavior as, what did the title say? Stunning courtroom. It wasn't stunning because she was in control and she represented herself and her cause in such an efficient and effective manner. It was stunning because this woman was so out of control in her own element. This is her courtroom.
No, I just wanted to make sure that
Okay.
you did not have a meeting with him in the conference room to discuss the
All
motion.
right, next question,
No.
Ms. Mercer.
So in the conference room of my office within this week, you produced some financial document. That financial document was given to me, something, and I'm not even sure who was giving it to him by me or Mr. Abadi gave it to me. And I think he showed me a document in our conference room. But as far as a substantive conversation, I don't believe I've had any conversation with him that is substantive related to this.
Okay.
I have had.
And I don't understand this. I really don't. So you have somebody show you a financial document, but you don't say that is substantive. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I would think that would matter, but I don't know. I don't know.
Conversations with him since you filed the motion, but they wouldn't be substantive to this. He sent me very nice sermons that.
I'm just not going to say anything about the sermon in the courtroom
that have been done. And so we've had conversations about, did you listen to that sermon? You know, things of that nature.
Okay, and again, here's another one of those classic behavior analyst, tells. Let's watch it again and I'll stop it at the proper place.
A document in our conference room. But as far as a substantive conversation, I don't believe I've had any conversation with him that is substantive related to this.
Okay.
I have had conversations with him since you filed the motion, but they wouldn't be substantive to this. He sent me very nice sermons that have been done. And so we've had conversations about, did you listen to that sermon?
Oh, did y'all see? Did you see the whole tongue jab? That's what, all of the behavior, the forensic courtroom behavioral analyst people, body language people, they all talk about, this tongue jutting or licking their lips, when they tell a lie because it tastes bad, because it's a bad thing. I mean, is she aware that people just don't believe that she is in her office talking to Nathan Wade about sermons? It's very difficult to accept. I'm not calling her a liar, but look, Nathan Wade was married. He was having an affair on his wife. Fani is not married. She was not, but a lot of this is hard to accept in terms of there's such ardent religious fervor happening that they're talking about sermons, in the board or the conference room. It's a little, I'm not saying it didn't happen. It could have, certainly could have, but it just is odd testimony in my opinion only. And the fact that she does the classic tongue jutting, when licking her lips when she's doing this, makes you think that maybe she recognizes people are not really going to buy this. So, but nobody mentioned it. Nobody brought it up in the analyst people. Why? You're the professional body analyst. I would think this was important right here.
That have been done. And so we've had conversations about, did you listen to that sermon? Things of that nature. And I would say they were in relationship to this because I think he did it to be kind.
Okay. Let's start back in 2019.
Yep.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions, you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive.
Okay, so this time it wasn't like an outright, you're a liar. This time it was more appropriate to say, you tried to imply, but basically she is once again directing people to look at this attorney and say, this person is not credible. This professional attorney here is lying on me and is telling the most extraordinary tales, and you should not believe anything that she says or anything that comes out of her camp. So now we have number 6 accusation, direct personal accusation toward this attorney that they are liars.
I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher. I did not meet him when he taught the class. I was standing outside talking to Lisa Reeves, who is a judge. Me and her were just having a conversation. Mr. Wade walks up and they hug each other. They have some brief conversation. She introduces us.
Your Honor, I'm going to object. We kind of thought that when you asked a question, you can answer the question, not a speech. So I object to the speech.
I agree.
I'm able to explain my answers.
I think another thing that made this a rather stunning courtroom moment was this was Fani's courtroom this day. The judge really lost control of the courtroom. Only my opinion, not an attorney, but go listen to other attorneys that are on YouTube that have been following this. Nate, the lawyer, is following it. I think that the judge really struggled to keep things clean and streamlined that we typically see, right? This was something else. She just was given free rein to do or say most anything that she wanted to. I don't think that it worked in her favor. I think it was that old, I know that your parents, I know you've heard, give them enough rope, they'll hang themselves, right? I think this was a good example. Don't talk so much, because given free rein, given all the rope you want, if you just keep talking and talking, you may stumble and say things that, you really don't want to say. And so in some ways that's kind of what happened. I think the judge failed to streamline her, her responses, her testimony. It really was quite expansive. She was allowed to give a lot of speeches. And I think in the end, it really is going to turn out to be a very bad thing for her. I think it was not good in the end. But again, this is one of those, this is an example of one of those moments where she was in charge, and she is the DA of a very powerful district. She has had company with very powerful people. She has the support of very powerful people. And she took control. I think this judge was overtly aware of not only her, but the fact that she had a lot of power supporting her and backing her. And he just didn't, I really don't think he was able to maintain the courtroom decorum and keep things factual and direct as they should have been. And so this is the net effect right here.
I believe she's able to explain her answer.
And
That's Ms. Merchant. That's okay. I can handle it. Ms. Willis, I'll ask you to just listen to the answer, or excuse me, the question, and keep the answers confined to the question as best you can. I think you'll have more than enough ample opportunity on when the state is
Well,
able
it's
to ask
highly offensive when
follow-ups.
someone lies on you. It's
Oh,
highly
I
offensive
think
when
I'm
you try to
losing.
implicate-
I'm losing track. I don't, is that number 7? I think that's number 7, that this attorney has been called a liar.
that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it.
All right. Well, Ms. Willis, she'll have the opportunity to explain all of that when it's the state's turn to ask more open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Ms. Merchant.
Thank you, Judge. So again, my question was, you all met at that conference though, right?
We did the meeting.
Okay.
And in terms of body soothing, she's crossing now her arms in front of her, right? Now I'm thinking, because of the change in body, I'm thinking now she's fearful about what the next line of questioning is going to be.
He, as I stated, he taught the class. I did not actually meet him when he taught the class. I walked out of the class, and I'm not sure if it was that exact class or we had went to lunch, but we were standing in the vestibule, like outside of the class. Me and Judge Reeves were having a conversation. She had worked at a law firm I worked at back in 1996.
We're getting way afar. I mean, I don't mind her explaining her answers, but I literally just asked if they met at that.
And let me ask you this, y'all. What do the body analysts, courtroom analysts, what do they all tell you? Lie, people that say if somebody's lying or not. What do they tell you about people that give way too many details? They go way too far in their answers, quite expansive. What do they tell you about that? Right? We hear this over and over and over and over and over again, and yet these same people, they watch this testimony and they did these videos saying, "Oh, I just don't see any evidence at all that she was not telling the truth."
That conference.
She's explaining how she met Mr. Wade, which was exactly the question asked by Ms. Merchant.
It was
These answers are more than appropriate.
Ms. Merchant, if you
Now,
want more
she's
concise
just
answers.
adjusted. She's tried to make herself taller. It didn't work. Now she's got her arms folded back over again. She was dismissive of the judge talking, not looking at him as he's explaining and telling her limits. She's looking straight ahead of her like, I don't know who you think you are telling me what the limits are. I'm the district attorney. I know what my limits are. It was really stunning that she showed such a level of disrespect to this judge. And she is uncomfortable. I don't care what the so-called professionals are saying. This woman is uncomfortable.
Perhaps you could lead the witness.
I will. Thank you, Judge.
Put
Isn't
her
it true that
mouth.
you met Mr. Wade October 2019?
Moving her
Judges
chair
conference?
back and forth.
Ms. Willis should be treated also in this situation.
I think we
And
have.
I'm very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be
Not
here.
so much that you're.
Okay, just curious, people. She has now corrected the judge. She has said, I am not a hostile witness. I would like to ask you guys, if you have gotten the impression that she is angry and hostile, put a 1. If you think she's completely composed and just here to give us the facts, put a 2. Yeah, right, cattywampus. If looks could kill. Yeah, she's very angry. And look, if for no other reason to understand how angry she is, the just think about their locked in battle. She's fighting for her professional reputation, and she's achieved a very lofty position. So there's a lot to lose here. So anybody that had their professional position threatened would be ready to fight. And again, I want to remind you, the very beginning of this, it is without explanation why a woman in 3.5-inch heels, promise me, look, that is not hyperbole. She does in fact wear 3.5-inch heels to the office. That is not hyperbole. I had the thought one day, does she worry about the orthopedic strain? Like, does she worry about later being crippled because she's wearing these heels like that every single day? It is actually damaging. But that's, that's definitely tangential. So she ran to the courtroom. I would expect maybe perhaps she thought she had to explain why she was panting and trembling, because I think it was definitely anger. Maybe she thought saying that she ran, maybe that would explain the panting, maybe. I don't think it did. I don't believe that she did run in those heels. I mean, can you even run in 2.5-inch heels? Right? So, I don't know. It's very, I don't believe this. So look, most people are going, nope. Everybody's mad, big mad. Okay. So everybody looks at this and says, well, of course she's angry. So the very fact that she says she corrects a judge, she corrects the judge who is going to be standing in judgment over this thing. Where's your humility, Fani? Why wouldn't you want this judge to align himself with you unless you already think he does? She talked down to this judge like he was, just nobody, a coffee boy. So to correct him and say, I am not a hostile witness, I want to be here, that was not real. That was not true. But none of the behavior analysts or what do they call them? Lie detector analysis. None of them pointed out these types of things. It was as if they were blind to it. And yet they go to other defendants who are showing wide open body, relaxed, sitting back in their chair. And they say, oh, he's trying too hard to look innocent or whatever. Come on. Can we just be authentic, please?
Hostile, Ms. Willis, would be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Thank you. Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor.
She's just corrected the judge again to say, he said, well, what? I don't even know why he got into an argument with her, but he gets into an argument. He says, oh, well, I was just saying that, her stuff was contrary to your stuff. And Fani says, oh, well, her stuff is contrary to democracy. The judge has failed to keep control of this courtroom.
Not to mine.
All right, let's
Judge,
proceed. We can keep things moving. Ms. Merchant, next question, please.
Okay, so we've confirmed when you met. After that, isn't it true?
No, I need to explain this, and I think I get to explain my.
Here's what I think is happening. Okay. There is something she does not want to talk about, right? There's something that makes her nervous, that every time the questions change, she gets very apprehensive and then kind of settles back into it again. This is something she doesn't want to leave behind. She doesn't want to get off this topic. She keeps redirecting back to this topic and then gives these speeches. What is she avoiding? What topic is she trying to avoid talking about?
My answers. When I met him, Judge Reeves introduced us. He handed me his business card. I'm unsure if I handed him my business card, but we exchanged information. He said, if you ever need any help, give me a call. And he walked to the parking lot.
So after that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
How many? How many times now has a district attorney in an official court proceeding called an attorney a liar and the judge never steps in and tells her to can it? How many times? Where are we at now? Was that 8? I think it was 8. All right. 8. Oh, I'm corrected. 9. I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And what I don't understand, look, how many times have we listened to Scott Reich talk about courtroom decorum? If you have heard Scott Reich talk about courtroom decorum, being polite to the other attorney, calling them Mr. or Ms. or yes sir or no sir, how many times have we heard him discuss this? How many times? You know, you've heard the whole what would Jesus say or what would Jesus do? Here's my question. What would Scott Reich say or do in this moment? What would he say about this behavior? 9 times this woman, who is a district attorney in an official courtroom setting, says to another attorney, you're a liar. 9 times? Fani, what happened to courtroom decorum? What would Scott Reich say? That's right, true crime curator. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. And what I can't understand, this isn't on Fani, this is on the judge. Why didn't this judge reel this in? Why did he reel this in and say, you know what? You have now called her a liar multiple times and I have overlooked it. Let's not do that anymore. Let's remember our decorum and manners. But nope, don't get that. It beats anything I've ever seen.
Do you know Robin Yurdy?
I know her as Robin Bryant. I knew her. So Robin did not go to my college.
Okay. So now she's being asked about Robin. What happened to body language? What happened to the relaxed and honest baseline body language? Oh, no, I don't see any indicators here that Fani Willis is lying. What about that? What happened there? Watch the change in her body.
Do you know Robin Yurdy?
I know her as Robin Bryant.
Oh, so now she's stuttering and now she's leaning forward. Her eyes, her eyes open, her eyebrows up, looking toward. Now she's looking to make a connection, non-aggressive, or as this person said, assertive. Now she's like, oh, yes. Oh, yes, I can what would you like to know? I will give you a full dissertation on our background and history together, where we went to school together. Oh, yes, I am working with you. We are a team here. This is so ridiculous. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now.
I knew her. So Robin did not go to my college. She went to the college of, I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State. I met her through some people.
Curious, just a little side note for this whole behavioral analysis lesson. Lesson for me, because I don't typically do this kind of thing. I find it incredibly interesting that the question is about Robin. And this is her little speech that she's going to give. And she starts, she's reaches forward to the attorney and says, we're really going to be friends after all. So don't be too hard on me. And then, she decides, I'm just going to tell the whole background story of our friendship. She sits back to find comfort. What? Is this a power move for a woman, or is this a baseline comfort move? A woman who is sitting back in her chair is a woman who is taking a position of power. It is different with men. So she sits back, she regains, she takes back her role of power. Maybe she realized she was leaning forward, like, we're going to be together on this. Maybe she realized that. I don't know. But maybe somewhere in her head, she said, don't show weakness. And that's when she set herself back, right? She pulled herself back up. What I find to be really interesting is this. She begins to say where Robin went to college, and she edits herself. Why? Well, Howard University is a very prestigious school for an African-American person. I would say any person in today's world, but there's a lot of cultural history with Howard University. So people that were graduated there and whatnot, they were very proud of that. And they want others to know that they're a part of such an incredible institution of higher learning. And I find this is a moment, this is a window of insight into this woman, not her when she's kind of locked in battle, but her as a person, the way she sees herself and the way that she interacts with the world around her. She's talking about Robin. Her thoughts should be on Robin and explaining Robin. And she edits herself. As soon as she's going to tell you where Robin went to college, she stops and she says, well, I went to Howard University. And Robin went to this little lowly no-name college. That tells you everything you know, or you want to know about how Fani views other people and the rest of the world.
I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State.
To Morgan State. Are you having trouble spitting that out?
Went to the college of, I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State. I met her through some people I knew. In college, we hung out.
Now, why did she do that? Why did she self-edit? Well, listen to the way the speech started.
She went to the college.
Whoops, I didn't go far enough back.
I know her as Robin Bryant. I knew her. So Robin did not go to my college. She went to the college of, I went to Howard University. She went to Morgan State.
So I think, she didn't want anybody to think that she was going to Morgan State and that she and Robin met in State University. That's the elitist, right? We are better than the rest of you guys. And you need to know that.
I met her through some people I knew. In college, we hung out a bit, not much because she was in Baltimore and I was in Washington, D.C. But we hung out a bit. After college, I lost contact with her. I probably didn't see Robin again until maybe 7 or 8 years ago, a chance meeting here in Atlanta. But we did not have a consistent relationship from when I left college and came to Emory Law School here in Atlanta.
So she is trying to minimize a friendship, quotation marks. She's trying to minimize the friendship with Robin, even though most people had said that they were really good friends.
Atlanta. But 8 to 10 years ago, just by happenstance, I ran into her. So she was in Atlanta.
You have been friends with Robin for 30 something years.
Did you hear my answer, madam?
Yes.
See,
and I'm asking if you've been.
She doesn't want anyone to say we've been friends for 30 years. No, Fani, there are lots of people that made friends in college and then they don't talk to them for several years, and then they see them again and have dinner or whatever, and then they don't see them again for several years, and then they call them on the phone, and then they don't see them again, and then they contact them for a letter of recommendation or whatever, and then they don't see them again. That is still a 30-year friendship. It doesn't have to be like, we had Sunday, brunch every week for 30 years. That is not what that means. So it's very odd to me that she takes issue with this. Very strange. And combative, not assertive. This is combative.
Friends with her for 30-something years.
I've known her for 30-something years. We certainly hung out and partied together in college. She was from the DC area. She would come home, we party together. Wasn't close, but she was certainly in the girlfriends that partied together. And then,
Minimize it.
like I said, I ran into her about 10 years ago in Atlanta, Georgia. But
So
we didn't talk throughout that time period. I didn't see her. I didn't even know where she was. When I ran into her, I was surprised she was in Atlanta. And so, yes, I have known her probably since 1990, 1991, but we have not maintained a consistent relationship that whole time.
for the last 10 years or 5, whatever you'd like to classify it as, have you been friends with her?
I have not spoken to Robin in over a year. I certainly do not consider her.
That is because she fired Robin. This woman is incredible in her ability to not answer a question. Like she is practiced. She is a professional at lies of omission. She's denying the 30-year friendship. She's also denying the 5 or 10-year friendship by not answering the question. So like in the last 5 or 10 years, y'all have been friends. Ma'am, I have not spoken to her in a year. As if that is going to derail this attorney and drop the other 4 to 6 years. That's not going to happen. This should make you uncomfortable because she is not just giving you facts. She is not. She is doing everything she can. She is dancing around some issue. Why didn't she just answer the question? Yes, we were very close. She's been in my life for the last 5 or 10 years. I fired her and I hadn't spoken to her in a year. She knows how to answer a question. She also knows how to answer a question.
A friend now. I think that she, there's a saying, no good deed goes unpunished. And I think that she betrayed our friendship.
Okay, so here's new Fani. Fani's now Fani is reinventing herself. Now, this is Fani, the victim.
So let's narrow it down, the timeline now. So my questions are going to be from the time period of 2019 until she no longer was employed for you, the last time you all talked. So all of my next questions are just focused on that time frame, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Up until she left your office.
Yes, ma'am.
During 2019, you all were friends, correct?
Yes, we knew each other in 2019.
During 2020, you all were friends, correct?
We were friends during that time period.
During 2021, you all were friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And such good friends that when you needed a place to stay, you asked her if you could take over her lease.
That's a lie.
Oh,
Yes,
wait a
I
minute.
Her apartment?
I
Or her
did. But
We got another
the way you
lie.
characterize it is
How many? What are we on, y'all? Is that 10? I think it's 10. Yeah, I think this will be 10, right? All right.
wrong.
I asked if you could take over her lease.
I did not ask if I could take over her lease.
Did you move into her apartment?
I moved into her condo in April of 21.
Get ready for the biggest, most unbelievable word salad avoidance of a question you've ever seen.
The circumstances around that were that Robin met her husband. They wanted to move into another and separate place. She wanted to get rid of her condo. My father was living with me at the house. Because of this case and because of my stance on gangs, my life was being threatened regularly. My father urged me to leave our home. At the same time, as luck would have it, Robin wanted to give up her lease because she wanted to move in with this new man she met, who eventually became her husband. And so as life circumstances worked, my dad was begging me to leave the house. He was afraid for me, afraid for his grandchildren. She wanted someone to take over her lease so that.
Now, it's important. She says that, she left for her health. And I do think she was being threatened by, if you're taking on gang organization. But she says that her children and her dad, everybody was afraid from them. The problem is later testimony is going to show you her dad continued to live in the house and her daughters continued to come home on the weekend and stay in the house. I don't know why this became such a big point of contention, but it was weird because it seemed like to me, it seemed like she was sort of reducing her credibility, but for no purpose, for no reason. So I don't know why it's a big deal that she would decide as a grown woman to go live in a house separate from her dad. I don't think that's unusual. I think that's a great thing that she loves her dad and wanted her own privacy maybe, and said, hey, Dad, stay here, live in lap of luxury, because she had a beautiful house, and I'm going to go to another place that has more privacy. I'm not sure why she wanted to mislead so badly, but she did. I don't know.
That she didn't, have to pay a fee or get abandoned. And so I don't remember when, but probably March or April of 21, I moved in and take over her lease.
And did you pay her or did you pay the leasing agent?
No, I don't even know who the leasing agent was. I paid her.
You paid her.
This is an attorney. I don't understand. Maybe I'm a fuddy-duddy, right? But what, does that make sense that an attorney who is a district attorney who has connections to Washington, D.C., would you want to play so fast and loose financially or in terms of liability? If this young woman, Robin, if she allows Fani to just move in, not alert the renting agent, isn't that her breach of contract? Why would Fani, being district attorney, why would she want to get caught up in some issue like that when all she had to do was just transfer the lease to Fani? Why not do it legally? I think that's what makes me so uncomfortable. These behaviors, I'm not an attorney. I'm just a regular old person. But I know to protect myself when you get into agreements financially with other people's property, things like that, there needs to be accountability. There needs to be receipts. There needs to be, a paper trail showing good faith, right? This is so odd. Again, I'm going to ask you again. What would Scott Reich say? WWSRS.
Did you pay her cash or did you use card?
There were some times that I would give her cash, but mostly I paid her via Cash App. That would be the most convenient thing. So I would not only give her rent, but then like when the utilities would come in, whatever the utility was, she might be like, I need $70, I need $100, whatever it was. And we never had a problem with money. Whatever she told me it was, I never asked to see a bill. I never questioned her.
So odd, isn't it? I don't know. There's something curious about this that is made even more curious by the fact that she's an attorney. She's a district attorney. It seems, again, it seems sloppy in terms of business and paperwork and fiscal accountability, things like that. It seems quite curious.
I just gave it to her.
What percentage would you say you paid cash versus Cash App?
Oh, the vast majority was Cash App. I don't know what percentage, I'm not going to guess that, but the vast majority was Cash App. But there would be times she would say, this bill came in at $70, here goes $70.
Did you have a monthly rent amount that you paid her?
I can't remember. It was $1,500. I can't remember what it was. And it would vary, which I don't understand to this day. But like I said, I never questioned her.
It would vary. The cash that she's giving Robin would vary, and she doesn't understand why. And there's no receipt. There's nothing to say what she was giving all this money to Robin for. She did. So basically, she's laid out a scenario where she is sending 1,400, 1,500, 70, 500. She's sending random amounts of large amounts of cash at all different times during the month, with literally no way to track what that money is for. You know what, Fani? Some people call money laundering.
When did you move
Whatever
out?
she said it was, that's what I paid.
When did
I
you move out?
abruptly moved out in February, either late January or early February of 22.
Of 22.
Yes, ma'am.
February 2022, is that what you said?
January, February of 22. I believe it is January, but I paid her half the rent of February of 22 is what I remember. And because I was offering to pay the whole rent, even though I didn't live there, I didn't think it was right. And I ended up just paying her half the rent.
So that's after you moved out. You said you
Yes,
paid her half of that. Okay. And the time that you said you had to move out of your house because you were scared, did your dad stay there at your house?
My father was concerned. Yes, we were both concerned.
Okay. But he remained there.
My father was 80 years old. He would have been 79. He was scared to death of COVID. You have to go back to when this was. My father's an older man. I wanted him to move out. We had some discussions about him moving out. And what he decided was the risk of COVID was more dangerous than the risk of the people that were threatening. Typical man, more worried about his.
Okay. Could we think about this for a minute, please? We were seeing videos of people falling over, convulsing, and then dead. Remember that? For the first time in history, our country stopped flights in and out of the country. We were all confined to our homes for the most part. Businesses were bankrupt and put out of business because they were not allowed to, serve the public. Unless you were Walmart, then you could stay open all you wanted. There was such a widespread feeling of intense fear of COVID. They were telling us that people were dying by the dozens in apartment buildings and nursing homes. I don't know about whether I would be more afraid of that at 80 years old, or if I would be more afraid of gang members coming to my house and writing horrible words in spray paint on my house. But what I would say is for sure is this. He's making her leave because of, I guess, she said the gang violence, right? Her being a target of gang threats. But he's allowing his daughters to come, or his granddaughters to come to the house and stay. I just am conflicted. I'm not going to say what she's lying about or what she's not lying about. I don't have that ability. I can't read minds. I don't know. But I can say this is illogical. The story doesn't make sense. It's illogical. And she seems to be comfortable and relaxed when she's telling these stories related to where her dad lives. But when it comes down to speaking about cash, money, things change. She gets very aggressive and refuses to answer.
Daughter and his grandchildren, then his own safety. You'll get to meet him and you'll understand he doesn't scare too easily.
So your his grandkids were living at the house as well at that time?
Well, I don't know how old your children are, but when you have adult children, they leave and they come back. They leave and they come back. So there have been periods of time that they're there, they come, they do whatever they want to do. Children do what children do. As long as their mother has a house, they'll come to it. Unfortunately,
Yeah. So, Fani, you need to be really careful here because you just painted a picture. I know you were trying to kind of show this lackadaisical kind of, I'm just, I just am not worried because kids just do what kids do. But I'm horrified and terrified for my own life from gang threats that I have to flee and hide and change residences 4 times because they're tracking me down. But it's okay. Kids just go wherever kids are going to go. And well, you know how dads are. You know how men are. They just more worried about their daughter than they are about their granddaughters and themselves. Really? That's not my dad. So she's given the impression now that her life is valuable. So she has to run and hide and play this spy game. But her kids, her adult children, are on their own. Her aging father, 85-year-old dad, is going to fight off notorious gang, organized crime because she's locking up all these gang members. She's perfectly willing to sacrifice her father and her adult children. Be careful, Fani. Again, this was I was educated at Howard University. It's another one of those moments. You're getting a real view of who she thinks she is and where she fits into the bigger scheme of things. Or is this just a misstep in a story that she's concocting? Or maybe it's something else.
Unfortunately, now the threats because of this case have gotten so extreme. I just pay they'll come to it. Unfortunately, now the threats because
I want you to look at how bad her hands are shaking. This is the district attorney. This is her courtroom. Watch how bad her hands are shaking.
What children do, as long as their mother has a house, they'll come to it. Unfortunately, now the threats because of this case have gotten.
Let me slow it down.
As long as their mother has a house, they'll come to it. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, now the threats because of this case have gotten so extreme. I just pay a mortgage and no one lives there.
And that's what I was going to ask you. So when you moved out in, I think you said April 2021, you left your dad and your 2 kids at the house?
My dad and my 2 kids were not at the house.
They were not. Okay, so they didn't still live at your house.
My youngest daughter certainly did not live there. My oldest daughter would come back and forth. I can't say month for month when she was there or when she was not there. I know that she has been there post me moving out. At this time, no one is at my house.
So at some point after you moved out for the safety reasons, at least one of your children did come
Ms.
back.
Merchant, can we get to either the
Yeah.
relationship or the
Sure.
financial benefit?
Yes. Let's see, we were back at 2000.
Her body is pretty tight right here. When he says, ma'am, can we just get to the relationship and the financial part? She is now leaned over. She's pulled her arms in tight against her body and her mouth is just tight. She is preparing for incoming, in my opinion. If you agree, if you think she looks really apprehensive here, put a 1. If you think she looks very relaxed and calm, put a 2.
Let's see, we were back at 2021. So you were still friends with Miss Yeardy then. Were you also friends with Mr. Bradley?
I've never been friends with Mr. Bradley.
You've never been friends with Mr. Bradley?
No, I don't consider us to be friends. I don't dislike Mr. Bradley, but I don't consider us to be friends.
Is he someone that you would have in your phone and you would message with?
I might have text messaged him.
Okay.
She's looking, I think she's looking at her attorney. this Mr. Bradley, the curious Mr. Bradley, he is affiliated with Nathan Wade's office. And you're going to find out after this testimony, the next person, things are going to go from bad to worse again. So you had Nathan Wade, it was bad. Then Fani comes in, it gets worse. And then the next witness, well, you've heard the tale of the proverbial hell in a handbasket.
Would you text message him and Mr. Wade on the same conversations?
I don't recall doing that, but if it happened, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so that wouldn't surprise you, the three of you. Okay. How frequently would you think that the three of you would have texted
Not
in a group
very,
chat?
I wouldn't think very often, but you're asking me to recall. I don't even know what time period you're asking me to recall, but I'm not going to speak to that because I just really don't know the answer to that. So I don't want to speculate as to how often that would happen. But it's not out of my practice to text two people on one text message. So if you told me that happened and showed it to me, it wouldn't surprise me, although I have no recollection of it.
But there would be some record of it in your phone, or the phone records would have some record of those texts.
Perhaps.
Talk about, you said that sometimes you paid Miss Yurdi cash.
I don't
When
think
you
I-
went,
I'm sorry.
sorry, when you went on vacation with Mr. Wade, let's just go one by one. Let's start with the first one. What's the first time you went on vacation with Mr. Wade?
I think the first time we went on vacation was around April of 22. And it's a vacation is a stretch, but I'm trying to be comprehensive. I recall April of 22. His birthday is March the 18th. So that would have been his 49th birthday. I took him to like Tennessee for the day. I think we went to a museum. I think we might have stayed the night. I'm not sure. But I mean, Tennessee's kind of hard to call a vacation, but I just am trying to be inclusive. And it, like I said, I know it wasn't more than a day.
So you didn't spend the night.
I think that we did. That's what I'm telling you. I think that there's a possibility that we stayed that night in April of 22.
Who paid for the hotel?
I think I did. It was his birthday.
And would you have used a credit card?
Probably maybe a debit. When I started dating Mr. Wade, it was right around then. That
April 2022?
22. Yes, it
2022.
was. 22. It's not like when you're in grade school and you send a little letter and it says, "Will you be my girlfriend?" and you check it. I don't know.
Bad look, Fani. That was a weak move, what you just did right there. Right there. She's deflecting. She couldn't figure out how to get out of it. And so she, reverts to the Hillary Clinton tactic of, look, this is not some Tammy Wynette stand by your man moment. Well, actually it was Hillary. So this, we're not some grade school, we're having our 3-day anniversary. That was a weak move. It was silly. And everybody, look, even the judge is looking at her like, really? Did you really just say that?
The day that we started seeing each other, but it was early 22 is my recollection.
Okay, early 22. And you all went to Florida on vacation as well?
I don't recall going to Florida on vacation with him.
You never went to Florida with Mr. Wade?
When we went to get on the cruise ship, we went to Miami.
Okay, that's
It's
a long
in
time. You
Florida.
went to Florida with him?
I think we went to Miami and spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we spent the night. That's my recollection.
Okay.
I think we.
Okay, so really bizarre, right? We're an hour and a half into this. We're not even close to being done. It is very odd. The testimony is very strange. Okay. I don't send notes like children. TV. So that was definitely a Tammy Wynette stand by your man moment, wasn't it? It was just a weak move to deflect. It lacked any substance. It was just sad and silly looking. You can only rise so high before things start to unravel. Well, Rhonda Grace, this woman is an incredibly powerful woman. Make no mistake about it. Doesn't matter, what whether you like her or not is not what's important. She is, in fact, an incredibly powerful woman, very, very well educated. Howard University is at the, is, an Ivy League, which then calls into question. I'm going to end this live in the same vein as I started it. And that was this image of Fani in her office, not watching the testimony of Nathan Wade, where he burned it all down. Her running in her heels to the courtroom, breathless and furious, taking a stand when no one had called her to take the stand, and giving this impression that, she is in control. She is the authority, even more so than the judge. And she has the ability and the right and the position to call another attorney a liar in an official courtroom setting where there will be a transcript. And so all the while, I wanted demanding for everyone to notice that she is a powerful woman, a woman to be reckoned with, a woman in control, a woman who is intelligent and thoughtful, who takes care of the details, who can give fact-based testimony, cognitively present and aware. And she has her dress on backwards. She has her dress on backwards. The American flag is askew. So someone explain to me again how this powerful woman who is so well put together, on top of it, is keeping orderly records for her businesses, taking care of business, achieving a level of excellence to get an invitation to the White House. And she goes to courtroom uninvited in a dress that she is wearing backwards. It is incredible. Bear with me 1 second. Just 1 second. Hold on. Hold, please. The advertisement went away. I was going to show you her dress. You see the zipper. Any woman knows this is the back neckline of the dress. These panels, that is the back of the dress. Y'all are going to see what I've been shopping for. Okay. There is the dress. It is an Adriana Papel knit crepe bow sheath dress with 3/4 sleeves. Others keep insisting that she's wearing a VF show dress, which does have a zipper in the front. But notice there's that small little 3-inch zipper, accent zipper in the front, but there are no shoulder panels. There's no panels to accent the waist. This is the dress she's wearing, the Papel. Oh. You see the shoulder pads as compared to the very inexpensive model that does not have the shoulder pads. This is made up. This is her dress. you know darn well a woman that has to announce her college before she can tell you the college of where her friend went to, the whistleblower went to college. You know darn well she's not going to wear a $42 dress. That is not happening. That is an Adriana Papel, which is probably in the $200 to $300 range if it's from Saks. Cute, precious dress. Problem is, old Fani wore it backwards. Why? Why did she do it? I know why I think I know why she did it. Because she was watching the testimony of Nathan Wade. Because she was in her power office watching the testimony, and she watched it go off the rails, and she thought to herself, holy hell, what has happened? I got to clean this mess up. And she ran to, every power office for a woman has a power closet. And she grabbed a dress quickly, threw it on over her head quickly, grabbed her pins to say, I am the district attorney and I love the United States of America, to show everybody who and what she was. But she was in a tailspin. How many of you have ever, like, your alarm didn't go off, you slept through your alarm or whatever, and you woke up and it was late and you said, oh my God, I'm late. And you jump out of bed, just grabbing clothes, brushing your teeth, putting your boots on while you're brushing your teeth, running out the door. And then when you finally get to the hospital, one of your kids you're working with says, hey, why are you wearing two different boots? Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, it might have happened to me. True story. Absolute true story. Yes. And I looked down, I grabbed pretty clothes. I was running too, man. Like there was like 2 foot of snow on the ground and I didn't have a coat on. I was running to my car. I was like, oh my God, I'm late. And got to the hospital, went running in and said, oh, finally, I'm here. I made it by the skin of my teeth. And then about 3 or 4 hours into the day, I was working with this little girl and she said, Dr. Jules, why do you have 2 different color boots on? And I looked down and I had one black boot on and one brown boot on. Yes, absolutely. I did. I own it. So yeah. And she said, give me those pearls off her secretary. There you go. So I believe that is probably what happened, why the dress was on backwards, because she was in a tizzy. She was in a tailspin, right? She was in a tailspin and she had to get down there to that courtroom and try to clean it up. She had to clean it up and demand to be put on the stand immediately after Nathan Wade so that people didn't go home for the weekend thinking about what Nathan Wade said. She didn't want them talking about what Nathan Wade said because it was a disaster. She thought she would clean it up. Now, if we fast forward, they didn't really finish the testimony for her that day. And so they were saying, well, she'll have to come back tomorrow. She'll have to come back the next day. And guess who did not come back? Guess who did not come back? Who did not get put back up on the stand? You would have it correct. Ms. Fani Willis. And according to Nate, the lawyer, it's because everybody said, good God, Fani, what in the hell were you thinking? This is 10 times worse now. Nathan Wade, we could have cleaned that mess up, but now this? How are we going to clean this up? Yeah. And she did not come back. So there you have it, people. Don't ever respond in a panic. Don't do that. If you are going to be on the record, you better be in control and know how you're moving forward. This was terrible. And I'm not laughing at her about having the dress on backwards. I am not. I'm explaining that it all kind of goes together, that she was in a state of panic. And then the big overwhelming question is why? I know why I wore 2 different color boots to work that day. And I did, in fact, go to the store and buy some, a new pair of boots for the afternoon. So, which I shouldn't have. I shouldn't be that vain. But I'll tell you something funny about it. Before it all happened with the little girl who told me that I was wearing 2 different color boots, they weren't just 2 different colors. They were completely different boots. Like the style was completely different. But what was so funny about it is, as I was walking, because I was in the hospital, right? So I was going to different floors and walking through and whatnot. And as I was walking, I kept feeling like something was weird. Like I kept thinking that my feet didn't feel right. Yep, that's right. And then she said, "Why are you wearing 2 different color boots?" And when I looked down, I was like, wow, that's really so I need a new alarm clock. so I'm not making fun of Fani, not in the least. I've been there. I get it. But I do think that, to be an authentic person, not to be a YouTuber looking for clicks and views, but to, really and truly give an authentic reaction, otherwise you run the risk of becoming a shill, right? You become the risk of becoming a charlatan, that you simply are looking for the way the wind blows. And then whatever the greatest majority of people are thinking, that's the way you decide to make your video or do your analysis. We wouldn't do that in research. There's rules to control for inauthentic, or inaccurate information, or inelegant research design. We want things, you want to follow best practices standards. And I think that includes, if you're going to do these presentations, you should follow those same guidelines. I don't do that. When I'm not at work, I'm not at work. My YouTube channel is friends, and we're all hanging out, having fun. And I've made that clear. This is hobby. So we have to be authentic, and you cannot look at somebody's mouth or whether they sit back or sit forward and just say that's their baseline, and anything different is going to mean something that you read in a manual. It's not like that. Human beings are not like that. This was an extraordinary moment in the courtroom for a lot of different reasons, but they all led to one final conclusion, and was, this is a woman that was in a state of panic, and she conducted herself as if she were in a state of panic, all the way down to a dress that she put on backwards. All right. Well, sometimes about science often isn't able to be replicated, unfortunately. But that's the goal, right, Jen? The goal in research is that you want other scientists, other researchers to be able to replicate your experiment or your testing conditions, and hopefully you get, depending on what you believe you're going to find, you either are looking to support previous research or reject it based on what you do. So that's one of the reasons why, we establish a null hypothesis. It's one of the reasons why we lay out our hypothesis ahead of time and discuss why we think we may see these types of results. We can't just test a bunch of people and then go fishing. We can't test a bunch of people and then go in there and say, "Ooh, let's see what we found out." We have to know, going into the data collection in social sciences, we have to know what specifically we believe we will see, and then we check for that. Now, if it does look like there might be something new that comes out, unexpected correlations or whatever, then we can talk about that in future research. You know, that this was an unexpected finding. It would probably be useful or fruitful to, you know, follow this new, you know, avenue of inquiry or whatever. So you can't just like say, okay, well, I'm going to say I'm going to look for this, but then when I find something different, then I'll rewrite my hypotheses. That would be so unethical. That would be so against good best practices and good science. Would just be, and as a professional, you have a mandate to live up to those ethical standards and best practices, established best practices. And I think my opinion, and it's not, I guess, worth a lot to people, but I think that if we're going to do that on YouTube, I think we have to kind of follow that. If you believe that sitting back with open stance, open shoulders, and relaxed arms, if you believe that to be an honest position, then I don't think you can then go to Charlie Adelson's testimony and say, well, you see how he's laid back, his shoulders are open, he's very relaxed, he's answering all the questions, but he's just a psychopath. This is just practiced. He's been practicing this. You're going to tell me that Fani Willis, as a district attorney, as a professional attorney, as a judge, you're going to tell me you don't think that she studied body language? You're going to tell me you think this woman doesn't know that she should be sitting with open shoulders and not wrapping her body up, you know, out of fear? Come on. My point to you, the passion behind this topic is we really have to be very careful about not just feeding the lion. Just because a large group of people on social media have a certain belief, don't just feed them what they're hungry for, even though it may not match what you are seeing. That is unethical, in my opinion. Even if we go by the ethics of YouTube, if you want to say something silly like that. We need to be authentic people when we're on YouTube. I think Scott Reich is authentic. I think Scott Reich has got a lot of opinions about certain cases where he just wants to say, you guys are being ridiculous, but he doesn't say that. He states his truth. He states what he believes. And there have been people that come back on him really hard because his thoughts, his opinions as a professional criminal attorney did not match the larger group on social media. And that really, you know, he paid a price for that. But at least he has his integrity. So we need to have our integrity, right? We need to call it, we need to call things as we see them. Absolutely. But we need to try to really kind of, let's be realistic and rational about what we're saying. For example, you know, a lot of people were not happy with my opinion on Charlie Adelson. I respect that. I understand that. I've been, you know, in the same way that many people have been following the death of Dan Markell for 10 years, anything with the Adelson name is guilty in their mind. They've reached that point. They just are not, there's no discernment. But with, you know, Barry Morphew, I have followed every little detail that I could possibly find related to him and what's happened over the years and whatnot. It would take a miracle to convince me that guy didn't create the scenario to hurt his wife. I believe that. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's an opinion that I have, you know. So I have respect for the people in that look at Charlie Adelson and are very passionate about his guilt. I respect their opinion. I understand why they have that, you know, belief. But as a new person coming on the scene and watching, kind of not knowing the history and the background of this case, looking at it all fresh and new, I can see how you can make a case against Wendy Adelson. I can even see how you can make a case against Donna Adelson. I do not see how you get there with Charlie Adelson or Harvey Adelson. I can't see it. This thing with Charlie Adelson is just bizarre, in my opinion. There's just nothing. There's no motive. They came up with this idea that it was all about, mommy, making mommy happy. It's something, it's different. They said, what's enmeshment? No, it's not enmeshment. Look at his lifestyle. So it's really, really odd, Anyway, that being said, I try to be authentic. That is not the same thing as saying I am right. When I say I'm trying to be authentic, it means I'm not chasing views. I'm not chasing popular opinion. I'm really just trying to give you my true reaction, how I really see these things. And then that's the same thing as you having your opinion. So doesn't mean that I'm Beelzebub. Okay. All right. It's bizarre. Have you been listening to the jailhouse phone calls between he and mommy? I have not, Yvette. I really have not. At best, I'll have maybe an hour or so in the evening where I'll check in, but it's really been like looking at the Audrey Cunningham situation, the as a review, the new stuff that's cropped up. I really haven't had much of a deep dive. So really it's been all I'm working, and then I'm with, my daughter and the baby. And that's really the extent of my life right now. So anyway, but I'll need to do that, Yvette. And maybe that would be something good to do on the channel, is kind of listen to them together. Yvette's got the shocked eyes. So the phone calls must be pretty good. How is he able to talk to his mom? She's in jail, so I don't think they can have contact, can they? How are they able to talk? It is baby time. Yes. Have y'all seen the picture? Hold on a minute and I'll put up a picture. She obviously, I'm a little biased. Okay. Just a small amount. I happen to personally think that she is the most beautiful baby that's been, no. She's the second most beautiful baby ever born behind my daughter, or the third behind my daughter, my son. Let me get her picture. Hold on. Just 1 minute. Hold on. Give me a moment. So sorry. All right. Let me share. Granny brag time. There we go. There she is. Isn't she sweet? You can hear the angels singing, can't you? And then there's bragging rights. That was the day she was born. That was the day she was born. That was about, I think it was maybe around 11 o'clock at night. Yes, grandma was so happy. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful baby. Oh yeah. I cried. I have to admit it. I did cry when I, first, when I saw my daughter, obviously she looked, rested and happy and healthy, which made my heart soar. And then, when I looked at the baby, then of course I started crying. And my daughter laughed at me and she told her husband, she said, "See, I told you she was going to cry." So, but I do look a little tired. My eyes are a little puffy, but it was, it was a long day. She came about a week or so early. And I literally jumped on an airplane. Like I got the phone call early in the morning, and then I was just like doing everything I could and made a plane at like about 2:00 in the afternoon. And then finally got to Aspen around, I think about 9, I think. And then by the time I got up to the hospital, it was about 10:00 when I got to the hospital. So, oh, I love that, Diane. That is precious. Yeah. There you go. But I got to tell you, not being, I don't know, maybe I am. I'm really proud of both my kids. They've done really well. She needs one of those Little Mermaid swaddled blankies. She does. And I don't know if she wants me to say the name. Somebody from our channel sent a just beautiful, excuse me, a beautiful baby comforter in Afghan. So pretty, and so grateful for that. But we were laughing the other day. Her husband said that they had something like, I think he said they had something like 900 and something diapers from people giving gifts and whatnot. They always include like a bag of diapers, right? So, yeah, people are very generous and very kind, very sweet. So, anyway, there she is. I just adore the professional. She had her portrait made. I think she was a week old in this picture. I think she was about a week old. Pretty baby, pretty, and happy. Very, very happy. Diane, we must watch that with Jules. Diane said there is a video on Plunder of Judge Lama talking about possibly AK. Really? I know, it's hilarious that it is so funny. I went into the baby room to get something. I don't remember what it was. And the whole closet is just boxes and boxes of diapers. And I was in amazement. And I came out and I said, do you think we need to go buy some more diapers? And her husband just started laughing. He said, I counted them. He said, of all the boxes, there are like 900 diapers, not 900 boxes, each individual, diaper. The footage is from 2022. I wonder if that was the whole courtroom debacle. That was caused by the lovely flower Iris Eton, which was highly unethical, Iris, in my opinion. So, yeah, people are super generous. Cassie said every time somebody would like bring a gift or come say hello or whatever, they'd bring a box of diapers and laugh, so they are well stocked on diapers. Set for diapers for a bit, but hopefully different sizes. Yeah, well, and that was the other thing that was kind of funny about it, is that she's so tiny. She's a little bitty baby. And she's so tiny that she's still in newborn diapers right now, even though it's like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. And so we got to go buy more newborn diapers because there wasn't enough newborn. So got 900 diapers, but we don't have the right size. But somehow that's perfect, right? Murphy's Law. Hey, Kellyo. Yeah. So anyway, that's my little bear. That's my little bear. She's a cutie. Sure. I had diaper service with my first two babies. They delivered 90 to 100 a week, which I always used in those first few weeks. Wow. Truth Seeker, I cannot imagine doing cloth diapers. I know that sometimes there are reasons even now in 2024 to use cloth diapers, right? Like some babies are really sensitive to the disposable diapers. Some people just want a more natural experience, so they want to use the cotton diapers. But I know in the hospital, we use a lot of diapers, like with babies that they've had surgery or they have some kind of issue that wearing a diaper would not work. And so they'll use the cloth diapers just to sort of lay as like a pad. So there's a lot of really great uses for them, and some babies have to use the cotton diapers. So yeah, a lot of people now, like my daughter would have no idea what a diaper service was. So we're aging ourselves, Truth Seeker. But I can remember when my little brother was born, I remember the pins, the big like safety pins that had like the little ducks on them and whatnot. Yeah. So I remember when my sister was going to use cloth diapers, it lasted a week. Well, here's what a lot of people don't remember. Truth Seeker knows. But when your baby poops, you have to take the cloth diaper. You can't just like save it and give it all to the diaper service. You have to go dunk it. Remember that, Truth Seeker? You have to go over to the toilet, and then you fix the diaper so you can dunk it in and out of the water until the poop falls out of the diaper. Remember? Thank God we don't have to do that anymore. I had to do that for my mom when my little brother was born. I became the cloth diaper dunker, and I was not happy about it. Lots of dunking. Yes. So funny. So funny. Yeah, no diaper dunking when you use disposables. Oh, see, there you go. Thing one used cloth diapers for all of her children. Yeah, well, and like I said, I have known some who are trying to do like an all natural, more natural experience with their kids, and they do the cloth diapers, as long as they're like muslin or cotton, diapers. So I use that nasty diaper genie. It's like a litter box for humans. I used the nasty diaper genie, and it just kept on taking more diapers when it was full. And I went to take the bag out, and it was like toxic sludge, wasn't it? So funny. Rinse in the toilet. There you go. Thing one. We called it dunking. My mom would say, go dunk the diaper. And you'd have to go and like hold, in and out till the poop finally came off. It was gross. Truly gross, I promise. Probably, to be fair, it probably wouldn't be gross if it was my own child, but it was my little brother. So, and I was a child myself, so it was not good. But I tell you what, Yvette is right about the diaper genie. The diaper genie is not meant to just fill up over days and days and days. That is true. And when you do, it can get bad enough. You just have to throw the whole thing out, the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah. Oh, see, Cinnamon's child had a child that had an allergy to the disposable. Yeah, some kids do. It could be the elastic that's in the legs, things like that. Yeah, some kids do. It's not really a uncommon problem. I'll tell you what, though, a lot of moms, a lot of babies, they'll have that reaction, and the parent just thinks it's like diaper rash, and so they'll keep putting Destin on it, and then it'll become so bad it will become like a burn. So, if you have a baby, or if you know of someone with babies, If they look like they have permanent diaper rash, it could be an allergy to the disposable diapers. So that is absolutely true. I was secretly so disappointed because I thought, how am I going to babysit? And I couldn't figure out the cloth diaper. Yeah, you got to fold them a proper way, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, that's true. So Truth Seeker says many were allergic to the scent. Some of the disposable diapers like smell good, right? They have like baby powder smell or whatever. But it seems like most of the diapers now, I mean, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but when I was looking to buy diapers for the baby shower, seemed like most all of them were saying scent free or artificial coloring free, kind of hypoallergenic diapers or whatever. So that's true, Truth Seeker. The scents can be a problem. Yep. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about folding those diapers, but Jen's right that folding them was weird too, if I remember correctly. Had a very specific way to fold them. All right, y'all, we are at 2 hours and 10 minutes. So Huggies was the only brand I would use with my last one. I think I used Huggies. I don't think I ever did Pampers, if I remember. I know Pampers was like kind of like a generic, oh, I'll have a Coke, meaning a soda. But I think I always got Huggies for my kids. All right, folks. We are at 2 hours and 11 minutes now, and we've talked about an awful lot of things, but I've really enjoyed this. It's been great. It's been a long time since we've been able to talk and laugh and have fun. So thank y'all so much for being here. And I'm gonna really try really hard to, be present. It won't be every day because I am with the baby and my daughter. And I am going to go over to Plunders and see if I can find the Judge Lama video. I'm thinking it may be related to the whole courtroom debacle where they tried to say that AK hacked into the court live stream. I mean, it was ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. But anyway, I'll look and see. I think that might be what it is. But look, make no mistake about it. AK has stirred up a hornet's nest in Colorado government. So the things that went on are wrong. And a woman lost her life. We can say that now because she was found. Her body was found. And Barry Morphew's still walking free. And it's curious. It's a curious set of circumstances. So, all right, people, y'all have a wonderful day. You're awesome. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. And I am really, 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 I'll be back in a couple of days. Like I said, it won't be every night, but I'm gonna really try to be more present. Okay. It's hard to look at that face. Could you tear yourself away from that? Y'all have a good day.